It's been a week since Super Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines and many towns were wiped off the map. Aid is slowly making its way to more and more people throughout the country, but for hundreds of thousands, it still isn't enough. Michael Morrow reports from the ruined city of Tacloban.
I've been speaking to the United Nations coordinator this morning who told me that distributing the basics remains a top priority more than a week on from this disaster. The lack of food, water and medical supplies means that the spread of waterborne illnesses is increasing. The conditions here are hellish. We've been here for 3 days, but by far the worst scenes my team and I have witnessed are in a town just 10 minutes drive up the road. A lone palm tree stands amid the ruins of Anibong. What was a poor but industrious community is now a wasteland. Not one makeshift wooden home here stood up to the storm. We clamber over piles of debris to talk to survivors.
The seawater was over here.
And you ran up to the church?
We ran up to the church.
Their place of worship was untouched. Hundreds sought refuge inside when the typhoon hit, but dozens never made it up the hill. An open-air cremation of some victims has begun.
And this is as bad as we have seen in the last 10 years, in the last 15 years. This really does compare with the really big disasters of the past decade.
This is clear evidence of just how powerful Typhoon Haiyan was. A 50-metre container ship literally picked up and thrown against the coast. Because of the wreckage, this town is challenging to access and not enough aid is getting in. That's not a problem isolated to Anibong. Reverend Gideon Aliposa from Naganaga town came to the UN headquarters to tell them directly of his plight.
Right now, the people there hasn't received even one bottle of water. We haven't received even a single pack.
Airports are open and aid is getting in, but getting supplies to where they are needed most is happening slowly.
It's difficult to get the aid out to places outside of these hubs because we don't have trucks and we don't have fuel.
Many are starting to rebuild, but because they had so little to begin with, hope for the future rests with the international community. And help from New Zealand has now arrived. A Kiwi C-130 Hercules has touched down with 5.6 tonnes of aid and 24 staff. They're carrying chainsaws, generators, water and tarpaulins. Meanwhile, the mass exodus here from Tacloban City is continuing. The Philippines Navy has taken more than 1,000 people across to the neighbouring island of Cebu. Michael Morrow, Tacloban City in the Philippines, 3 News.
Desperate survivors of the typhoon are swamping trucks and helicopters as they arrive with crucial supplies. And as Angus Walker of ITV reports, in some cases, fights are breaking out after the items have been dropped off.
Fighting for food. A scramble for sacks of supplies. Hunger in their eyes, survival on their minds. In seconds, it's all gone. Too little, and 1 week on, arguably too late. They want the crew's bottled water, so we hand it out. They try to keep desperation at bay. Another load to deliver, and the sound of the chopper brings a swarming crowd. The crew, fearful of being mobbed again, just throw it to the ground. Most are left empty-handed, an airdrop in an ocean of need. But the aid operation is growing, the US military deployment more visible by the day, here to do the heavy lifting, with boots on the ground and boxes piling up. But in 2 hours, we saw only 2 trucks being loaded. It certainly appears to be taking far too long for aid to get from runway to ruins. Living just 2 minutes from the airport and the tons of stored food and water, Marites Chinko hasn't seen any of it.
Still we're waiting. Up to now, nothing. So what will we do? What will I do? What will these people do, these children? What will children do?
They run for the truck, which has suddenly appeared in the centre of the city. It's packed with food from the government.
Aid is being delivered to Tacloban, but it's simply not enough. A truck has just turned up at this evacuation centre, and within seconds, hundreds are queuing for food.
Little by little, help is in sight, but there's a long, long way to go.